It's an incredible instance on 17 November 1986 of a Japan Airlines plane that was flying from Tokyo to Paris through Alaska, encountered three large shelled walnut type objects. The largest was described intermittently in different reports as either the size of one or two U.S. aircraft carriers. They were pacing the plane, they were making aerodynamic movements which were scaring the pilots. It's an amazing incident in that possible 5 different agencies were all tracking these objects at the same time, namely the FAA, the CIA, NASA, the U.S. Air Force, and I presume Japan Airlines when the calls came in. It's one of the most heavily documented cases ever. There's transcripts that come out of the black box that were frightening. It turned out that the Reagan administration was excited about all this because they had never gotten so much documented information on a UFO incident ever in history. So they convened a scientific advisory board that in January was going to study all the information. As far as that scientific advisory committee, John Callahan, who was a senior FAA official, was on top of all this. He was excited too. He had looked all of the data. He said they never had anything this good. The scientific advisory board convened and they were waiting for the meeting to start. And according to Mr. Callahan, before the president even came in, somebody from the CIA came in and snatched everything up and said this never happened and walked out.
The history of UFOs in the United States is it's filled with one impossible sighting after another impossible sighting. The problem with them is that they have great military documentation again and again showing that they actually happened. Or what does one make of the boomerang craft that were seen in just north of New York City in the early 1980s in what's called the Hudson Valley? For several years, you have again and again these enormous objects being seen by thousands of witnesses. They're driving along the highway and they see this object hovering. They get out of their car, their jaws drop open, and this intense bright light shoots down onto the highway like out of a movie. Except this wasn't a movie. This happened